I first met Elton and I walked in there and I said, hey, I know it sounds crazy, but I have goals of becoming bantamweight world champion in the UFC. He wanted to figure out a way to analyze these fights, but not just with stats where it's like, okay, he throws this many kicks, he goes for this many takedowns, or this many missed takedowns. He really wanted to see like what surrounded those takedowns or those attacks or whatever. We can't understand a fighter just by knowing he goes for this many leg kicks. It's like, okay, well, is he doing it after I throw my hook, my cross?
It's not just like numbers, right? It's not just raw numbers. You want the context in order to develop some pattern recognition.
Found the jiu-jitsu club at Rutgers. Garry Tonon was the head coach there, actually. I didn't know like the extent of how good Garry Tonon was.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I went to his gym. I still didn't really know. Gordon was training there. He was only a purple belt. You're not going to be able to catch up to us because you're just not training.
How do I do this? Sorry, bro, you can't.
Yeah. It was basically like you're not training enough.
Could you explain for a second like where we're at and what we're doing, what's going on later
Yeah,
today?
guys. So today is
Yeah, we're live, boys.
Are you sick? Yeah, you're good on there too, on the audio's on.
Yeah, audio's on.
Do you want to clap?
Please. Just one. Just one clap.
I'll be too.
Yeah.
Sick. Yeah, so just kind of pick up where you were on
Yeah. So
training at 5:30 in the morning with the ambush fight team.
I forget if it was 5 a.m. or 5:30 because it was years ago before. But yeah, I would drive 45 minutes from South Austin to go train with Elton at Ambush Muay Thai in North Austin. Jackson was there. Cody was there at the time. Yeah, you were asking, was there something that Elton did to warrant me wanting to go up there? And when I first left New Wave, because I was doing MMA at New Wave or training MMA with Garry and stuff like that. And I left to go to B Team, and at the time I didn't have an MMA place to train at. I tried out 10th Planet for a bit actually, so I trained there for a little bit, and then decided to not continue MMA there, and then I just kind of did jiu-jitsu for maybe about a year. Honestly, at the time, I was still a guard puller back then, and then I took off from MMA training and just focused on kind of wrestling actually. So it's like when I went to B Team, that's where like I kind of got better at stand up wrestling and stuff like that. Now I like hate playing guard. I'm just a wrestler now. But towards the tail end of that year, Jackson and Cody had swung by the gym, and they were saying that like their coach is working on this system of fighting, whatever. And I wanted to go check it out. I was like, all right, let me try to figure it out a little bit. And I didn't know Jackson at the time. I actually didn't even know how good he was at the time. It was really just I knew Cody from jiu-jitsu and stuff. But I went up to Ambush and I first met Elton, and I walked in there and I said, hey, it's kind of who I am. But I was like, hey, I know it sounds crazy, but I have goals of becoming bantamweight world champion in the UFC. I know you don't know me, but I'm trying to find a striking coach that is able to get me to where I want to be. And I don't know if that's you, but Jackson and Cody talk very highly of you. So then he didn't laugh at all. Actually, I was like, okay, this is what we're working on. And at the time, he didn't have. Right now, what he showed you guys was called annotate and spectate. There's ways of like annotating fights and transcribing fights and then breaking it down. He did bring me into his office, and then he did have a program or like basically like a flow chart of fights. So like what was at the time the system that we were learning back then was called the Clear system, and it was basically a breakdown of how to safely win engagements basically. So the Clear system was an acronym. So it starts off with C, which is at the time it was control, space, and pace. So these are all engagements in the fight. So just think about a loop that's a constant loop, right, in the fight. So there's C, which was control, space, and pace. Then L was lead the engagement. So we never usually just throw a naked kick or throw a cross right away. It's like we want to lead it with something. So usually you're going to lead it with a fake, a feint. Maybe we also have like beats, pins, hand trap. There's a bunch of different leads that we can use that we were learning. Then there's the E, which is actually execute the engagement. So it's like after you lead, you execute it. Then the A was avert damage. So that's your exit afterwards, or maybe clinch after. And then there was R, which is reapply variance. So which is like basically like after you do your whole CLEA, the reapply variant is like, okay, instead of, we'll say, cross to the head I did, maybe do fake cross to kick, or maybe do a cross to the body. So there's different ways that we can play. It was still a system of fighting, but compared to what we're doing now, it was like kind of just like the skeleton version of what Elton has worked on. And the thing is, like, Elton, for those that don't know, Elton is me and Jackson's striking coach, and now we have a team now: Dallas, Nico, Diego, a bunch of good guys. But I totally lost my train of thought.
Well, you're just talking about like the skeleton of
of
the
the
clear
system.
acronym for kind of what he's doing now. You could kind of break down like what we just witnessed with
Yeah.
what he was showing. It was kind of like the next
So yeah, now
level of
it's
that.
like
Annotate,
basically
inspectate.
a beefed up version of what we're doing now. Yeah, basically back to, I got my train of thought again. Elton is working on this every single day, and his background is he was I believe technically it was like a software architect or something like that for NVIDIA. We worked there for maybe 10 years, I want to say. Before that, worked at Microsoft and I believe Dell as well. But, very high level software engineer. And he retired and basically is now just a full-time coach for me, Jackson, Diego Cortez, Nico. We have a bunch of guys now that are very, very good, and definitely going to see them in the UFC. But he works on this every single day. So it's like from where we went back then, which is just like I was with him. Maybe now I was with him for 3 years now. Compared to what it is now, we just came a super long way. So that you guys saw now what is on his computer that he's working on every day to describe these fights.
Yeah, which was like a breakdown of every minute, everything that's happening in the fight,
Yeah,
put
yeah.
into a chart.
So basically, there's guys that say that they analyze fights, and you can get into like analysis paralysis, but that's not really what Elton's doing. Elton was more so, he wanted to figure out a way to analyze these fights, but not just with stats where it's like, okay, he throws this many kicks, he goes for this many takedowns or this many missed takedowns. He really wanted to see like what surrounded those takedowns or those attacks or whatever, because it's like the context really is what we focus on the most. So it was like, say he throws 47 right hands or 47 crosses, right? It was really like, okay, were those as counters? Did he lead the engagement with that? Were they as a stop hits? And a stop hit is basically like, instead, counters is basically like when they throw something, I throw something after. That's what we call a counter. A stop hit, what we call that is when he throws something, I throw that cross at the same time, right? As a stop hit. So what he focuses on more is like, what's the context surrounding that? So then that's really how we understand a fighter. We can't understand a fighter just by knowing he goes for this many leg kicks. It's like, okay, well, is he doing it after I throw my hook, my cross? Is it when I feint? Is he using it as a stop it? So that's really how we plan, and then we can actually see the type of fighter, and we can see where he's weakest, where he's strongest. Maybe there's certain times when it looks like this guy got caught with, we could say, a hook a lot of the times, and we're looking at is like, how did he get caught with the hook? Was it, maybe it's because he has a low return line on his jab. After he jabs, his hands comes down, so that's why hooks can hit him cleanly. So we can take a look at actually understanding how our opponents are winning, how our opponents are losing, and we can game plan properly for
Game
them.
plan.
That's the name of our podcast.
Oh, sick!
So anytime
I didn't even ask you guys.
Yeah. So, and that's why, like, it's a funny thing because it's such a common expression.
Okay,
so, like,
yeah.
anytime someone gets going and they say it, we'll just be like, game plan.
Sick. That's hilarious.
So next time you fight, if you go like post-fight speech,
Game plan.
hit them with a game plan.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
got you
some
guys.
in that post interview,
Got you
post match
guys.
interview.
Got
Fuck
you
yeah.
guys.
We'll pull that audio clip and throw it in our intro or some
100%,
shit.
bro.
You know?
Yeah.
But you're talking about the fights, so it's not just like numbers, right? It's not just raw numbers. You want the context in order to like develop some pattern recognition for your opponent, right? To strategize or game plan for it, right?
Game plan.
Right. That's like the main idea, right? Essentially.
Yeah. That's basically like, there's a bunch of different pillars, and honestly, like, I'm too stupid to explain it properly. Basically, the way I function is like, I want to find a coach that I truly believe in, and then for me, I basically let go of everything and I just try to absorb what they're doing, what they're trying to teach us.
Just take direction, instruction, and execute.
That's it.
Yeah.
It's kind of hard for me to explain exactly the pillars of Elton's system, but what I can understand is like there's this way that he analyzes fights. The annotate and spectate, we read it, we learn it a little bit, but that's in my eyes, that's mainly for Elton, right? He can understand that properly
To provide direction for the
for
athlete.
exactly for to provide direction for our training camp leading forward,
Yeah.
right? Now, for our actual training, we do more of a CLA style. I don't know if you guys heard. You guys know
Yeah.
CLA? Have you heard of
We've
CLA?
talked about it a little bit.
Okay, yeah. So we definitely are a more like objective based games, or it's like a hybrid approach because we still do technique. And I'm not full on CLA, but I do believe that these game based style of training, like that is how you build actual skill. Just drilling, in my opinion, doesn't actually build the skill in competition. It's like you need full resistance to build the skill if you want to execute at the highest level. It doesn't do anything for your understanding, in my opinion. But in order to actually do the skill properly, you need to go live basically or have this sparring. But every day, Elton has these objective based games that will play throughout the session. And now, like just how you saw how meticulous he is with like on his laptop for annotate and spectate, it's like that's how our training is. So it's like we have X amount of time to do this game. He's going to explain it to us. We're going to do it for this amount of time. Then it goes into the next skill, whatever. And then as we progress through the training session, we do everything that he had planned. Then afterwards, we have basically like a retrospective meeting where we go through each one of our partners, like everyone that was there for practice. We say, things that they did well that day, things that they need to improve on. And that helps us plan the next practice moving forward. So it's like, that's kind of how training is. It's like, there's, two parts. There's the actual analysis part for fights and fighters that have fights coming up, but there's also the actual training where we're building skill every day. And so that's kind of just how
Yeah,
it's
I got to go out there with you guys recently and kind of watch that
Yeah,
practice.
yeah.
And I think my favorite part was the sitting down and talking afterwards and being like, this is what your objective was, Dallas. You were doing well. And then like, oh, at the end of the round, you weren't as sharp on it or something. And just like all talking about what, especially from like the outside, right? You weren't in the rounds as much, but you were more just like watching them and just like looking at the specific objective that they had and if they were successful or not.
Exactly.
And then like, what was the problem of why were they not successful?
So that's where that's this is also why I like CLA, because it's like, so we'll say for a certain fighter, say we identify that this fighter has a certain pattern that it's going to be hard to explain without like the same language, but we call them like forks. It's just like a collection of strikes. So we'll say 3 strikes. So we'll say like we'll say cross hook kick, right? That's a type of fork that we use. So that collection, we can say this guy throws a lot of crosses and hooks in his fights. Maybe he doesn't throw the kicks as much, but for that fork, it's still possible. So when we have these objective based games, the other person is just trying to he's not focusing on just cross and hook. He's focusing on the objective. So you can see you can actually train patterns that your opponent might do, but we haven't seen just yet. Maybe that fighter only has 2 or 3 or 4 fights, or maybe he's very experienced, but they're like short fights. You don't get to see his full repertoire of skills. But by playing these objective based games where there's a collection of strikes, you can also see what's possible within that position in the fight. If that's making
Yeah,
sense. That
I
makes
feel
sense?
like on that, I'm
Limits.
thinking about combinations that you could have like a jab, cross, hook, cross, but you can hit different targets, different heights. So it's like a jab, cross, hook, cross to the head versus one of those hooks going to the liver or something
Exactly.
like that.
Exactly.
So you've been training with Elton for, you said 3 years?
I believe it's 3 years now. Yeah.
And how long have you been training before that, or like
So
in total? You know what I
I'm
mean?
about. I think I actually might just be on a decade now, 10 years. I started in, oh wow, 20. Yeah, this month actually should be 10 years, which is funny.
Sick.
I was at Rutgers just a freshman in college, not really knowing what I was doing. And then I found the jiu-jitsu club at Rutgers. Garry Tonon was the head coach there, actually. So I started training there, and it was only twice a week, but pretty quickly, like I realized like I like this thing. I was only going twice a week in the beginning, and then I wanted to train more, and I found out that he had his gym. I wasn't really like big on social media, so I didn't know like the extent of how good Garry Tonon was.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I
Yeah.
went to his gym. I still didn't really know. Gordon was training there. He was only a purple belt, I believe, or maybe he just got his brown belt. But also he wasn't really like big in the sport either. And I didn't really know that these guys were trying to pursue it professionally, but maybe like 6 months in, I was training like pretty much every day, but not really like I didn't really know the guys that well. And then Gordon and Gary were like, oh yeah, we do this professionally, or Gordon was like, I want to do this professionally, and Gary was already doing it, but I didn't realize that he was like making money or anything, because at the time there really wasn't much money in jiu-jitsu at all.
Yeah.
But they were able to sustain themselves, and I realized, I was like, these guys are just, you know, training all the time, and they love what they do. You know, basically
Yeah, like,
just
I want to do that.
it's basically just hanging out with your friends. You know, they're grinding, don't get me wrong, you're training a lot, but it was like it was fun. So I was like, you know, how can I try to do this? And they're like, you're not going to be able to catch up to us because you're just not training.
How do I do this? Sorry, bro, you can't.
Yeah. It was basically like, you're not training enough, because I was at school, I had a job. So then I needed to figure out how to train more if I wanted to try to really pursue it. So then I started managing Gary's gym at the time, and I was just a college kid, you know.
What was the name of the gym?
It was called Brunswick BJJ. Yeah, he changed it now to Garry Tonon Jiu-Jitsu. But I started managing Brunswick BJJ because I needed some money. Needed to be able to stay at the gym all the time too.
Right.
And that was kind of how I was able to train all the time and make a little bit of money. And it was like shit pay, don't get me wrong, but it did teach me the skills of how to actually run a gym, and it allowed me to train full time, and I learned really valuable skills. So that's how I was able to open up my gym in Jersey. Obviously now I own Simple Man Martial Arts in Austin now. That's kind of how the grappling went. And then I did always want to be an MMA fighter, but I didn't really know how to do it, to be honest.
How to pursue it?
Yeah, it was so weird because I have it at my house, and my wife now wants to like photocopy this journal entry and then picture frame it, because
Yeah.
I was in like 6th grade, and they were asking like, what do you want to be when you're older? And I said a UFC like fighter, like, I'd love to do that in my pastime and shit like that. But I never trained jiu-jitsu, never trained judo.
Just completely ignorant.
Completely ignorant.
Yeah.
I was like,
But that's what I want to do.
yeah, it was like, it was sick. And I never really took any steps to pursue it at all,
Yeah.
which was wild. It's like, I said that. And then there's another entry where it was like, what's your favorite hobby or pastime? And I said UFC fight time. It's like, I don't know. I didn't do any of this, but like, I thought it was super cool. And I remember being in 2nd grade. So that was in 6th grade.
Okay,
so
okay.
my journal entry was in 6th grade, but I remember being in 2nd grade actually. And the bell was about to go off before we're just sitting around about to go to leave school. And I vividly remember this saying like, oh, I'm going to be a UFC fighter. Like
Second
that's
grade?
in second grade. And it's like, because I played like little, like I would watch UFC with my dad or whatever. And at the time, like UFC had just come out or something like that. So I've seen people play. I wasn't very good at the game, but like I've seen it before. And I vividly remember that. Then nothing happened, obviously. 6th grade, they asked me what you want to be. I was like, oh, UFC fighter. Nothing happened with that. And then I found jiu-jitsu, and I was like, oh, this thing is cool. And then, a couple years in, Gary was trying to fight MMA, and I didn't know how to pursue MMA. I just saw Gary was, had just started MMA now. And I asked John how to become an MMA fighter once, and he was basically saying that the smartest way, because for me, and I might just be like, going on tangents a little bit, but for me, I didn't want to just fight MMA to fight MMA. It's like if I wanted to do it, I wanted to try to do it intelligently. You know, I didn't. I'm not big on getting hit in the head. You know, not it's really not for me.
Yeah.
I call it like a almost like a fear based style of fighting for me. It's like I want to get hit as little as possible. I want to fuck you up or submit you.
Fuck you
Like,
up. Be elusive as hell.
yeah. I don't want to get hit. I don't want to
Yeah.
get hit. Like, not saying like, all right, you're gonna get punched or whatever. It's not a big deal, but it's like I'm not one of the guys that's gonna bite down on the mouthpiece and just start swinging. Like,
It wasn't on your list of favorite pastimes.
that's not
Yeah.
my thing.
Yeah.
It's like
Not like our homie Cody Steele.
Cody is a dog. Okay, Cody's a fucking dog. I'm more like I don't know. I'm like a silent killer. You know, I want to be like more of like a sniper. I like don't touch me. Boom, I'll
Yeah.
kill you.
Yeah.
Everything. You know. Yeah. You know. I was never one of the guys that like wanted to just bite down and start fucking swinging. You know, it wasn't for me. But John had told me that the safest way to pursue MMA was to get world class grappling. So like that was kind of the thing. Was like I was actually training MMA with Garry and John, but never fighting because it's like I never had the level of grappling that I needed in my eyes yet, type of thing, right?
Was that you're talking about world class grappling? Was that safest in terms of like style, like not getting hit, or safest as like security? Like if you have world class grappling, you will be able to get into MMA.
No, so it was
Okay.
real. It was it was a safety thing. So he was like, you can have world class striking. Like this is what John was telling us or telling me when I asked him. And he said you can have world class striking. And imagine a world class striker going against an average striker. It's like each exchange, maybe they hit the guy 7 times, but they get hit once or twice. Right, it's a really good exchange. I hit you 7 times, and I only take 1 or 2, whatever. And as the fight goes on, I'll win the fight or knock the guy out. But if you have superior grappling, you can hit the guy literally 50 times and not get hit once. So he's like, that's what you want to do. So striking in his eyes was something to get through. So you have to have competent striking to get through, and then when you get to grappling, where you have a massive advantage, that's where you can do most of your work. So, I trained in Puerto Rico. I actually started training MMA in New York, never fought. Trained in Puerto Rico, never fought. I was just sparring Garry every day. And then finally, I think I had I was like a purple belt, and I had like a good performance against I think it was an Emerald City Invitational where I like submitted like Gabe Souza, had a tough match with Gianni Grippo, but like I had like my first kind of like little breakout performance.
I actually remember that event.
Yeah, so I had like my first little breakout performance, and then started to realize that like, okay, my grappling is currently there. So then I was like, let me start thinking about really trying to pursue MMA. I was still in Puerto Rico at the time, I believe, and I didn't have a manager. I had no direction. But I might have made an Instagram post like trying to fight MMA, and I had a couple of different promotions that reached out to me that said that they could get me a fight, and then they would always fall through at the time. So I didn't like really think
And
anything.
you were in Puerto Rico because of the pandemic, so things were probably a little more tricky on promotion at the time.
Yeah, definitely during the pandemic it was a bit tricky, and then obviously we were only in Puerto Rico for 10 months. I came to Austin. I was still on New Wave for about a month, and I still trained MMA with Garry every day. And then I ended up going to B Team. I had a falling out with them, and then went to B Team, and I was like, I can't fight MMA now. Like, I have no training. I'm not going to take an MMA fight now. But the thing was I in my eyes, I had good grappling. It was like world class grappling where I felt comfortable fighting, but I really wasn't a wrestler like I was talking about before. It was more so I could scrimmage well. Like if someone goes to take me down, okay, I'll use that to try to heist back up, like sumigation them or sweep them, end up on top. But it was never like I never felt comfortable standing up, and so while I was at B Team, I pretty much just did stand up the entire time. And then over the course of that, about like 9 months to a year, I was try to get ready for trials. And then my wrestling, started feeling comfortable wrestling. So it really helped out for my MMA, in my opinion. And then I ended up finding, Elton and Jackson and Cody, and started training with them. And obviously once I found like a good striking coach where I was like, okay, this guy I can trust. It's another coach where I felt like I needed to go like all in with. I just kind of let go and then just try to absorb everything that they're trying to teach me. And once Elton said like, all right, now I think you're ready for a fight now, started looking for fights and trying to get fights. And then, it's been great ever since. There's been some injuries along the way. That's kind of what held me back from getting more fights, but that's where we're at now.
Yeah, and you're healthy and ready to schedule a fight.
Healthy, yeah. I mean, I don't have anything signed yet. I'm trying to fight February 6th for CFFC. That'll be in Philadelphia. They offered me a fight with the current champ. His name's Sean Mora, and he turned it down. So then I like kind of made fun of him a little bit on Instagram to try to like entice him to accept the
Get him
fight.
in, yeah.
I don't think he'll take the fight. I think it's just it's a bit too risky, in my opinion, for him. I also don't really see a good path of victory for him, for me, because he's better. He's a better wrestler than his opponents usually. So he's usually like taking them down and stuff like that. And I don't necessarily think he's a better striker than I am. He doesn't really strike too much. He's more of a grappler, and it's like it's just a risky fight for him. It's like, okay, what, he's gonna take me down and then hold me down for 5 rounds, or he might get submitted. He might get knocked out. It's very difficult. It's a very difficult fight. He's also probably on the verge of going to the UFC because he's maybe 8-1 now, something like that. So he has a good record. But I'm trying to get them to strip his belt so then I can fight for the belt, or at least fight him. I don't really care. It'd be really cool to fight for the belt. Is the thing at CFFC. So that's really what I'm trying to do. I don't know. I might have to put a bounty on myself too. We've had to do that before.
Yeah, can you explain that a little
what's
bit?
that like?
Yeah. So basically, it happens with me and Jackson. It's just very difficult to get fights, and I don't blame the guys for it. Like maybe on social media a little bit, like I'll fuck around with them, saying like, oh, you're too scared, whatever. Just trying to get them to fight me, but basically it's a situation because I used to fight in Fury, and they would go through like 15 or 20 guys that all declined fights with me before one guy accepts it. So it's like it kind of sucks because the guys that accept to fight me, I've accepted every fight that I was given. Okay, the only times I had to like pull out of fights was like, all right, if I changed the promotion or I had to change a weight class. So that's literally the only time. But I've accepted every fight that was given to me, unless I had to change the promotion. So we go through like 20 guys. They all say no. What's up? And so one time I was trying to get a fight, and like these guys, it's a weird middle ground, or like I'm in a weird limbo because the guys that are on the verge of the UFC, maybe they will fight me, but it's like, okay, at the time, maybe I was like 1-0 or 2-0. It's like, and stuff like that. It's like, do they really want to risk losing to a guy that only has 1 or 2 fights when they're about to get called up to the UFC?
Yeah.
It's a very risky fight. And then the lower level guys that are debuting, they definitely don't want to fight me. So then I fight these guys that are like, in my eyes, pretty shit. Because it's like, and I get it. It's because they're dumb, and that's the only way I can see it. And it sounds like a dick thing to say, but it's like, because I would get shit for, they're like, oh, you're fighting cans. I'm like, bro, it's not my fault. Like they're giving me guys to fight. The guys that are stupid are the guys, are those guys, because the smarter guys that have a trajectory to go into the UFC, it's like, it doesn't make sense for them to fight me yet. It doesn't make sense for them to fight Jackson yet. It's like, these are very tough fights to have, So it was tough for me to get fights. I got like my amateur debut, I fought at 155 just because it's like, I didn't want to cut weight. I wanted to make sure that I felt comfortable fighting. And I genuinely just, like, I have so much confidence in my abilities and in my coaching and in my team. I was like, I don't want to cut this weight. It's like, I'm going to be better than this guy, 155. So then I fought 145 for my debut. So then after my pro debut, I fought, And then there was like a big lapse of maybe like 6 months where like they just could not get me a fight. So then eventually I said that I would give uh 2 grand to anyone that would beat me in a fight. So this is for my second fight, right? I said I explained to everyone that like, this is not really me like talking too much shit. It was just that the guys that are going to the UFC or about to go to the UFC, it doesn't make sense for them to fight me. And the lower level guys those guys are scared. So I was like, whoever can beat me, I'll give you an extra 2 grand on top of whatever you win. And then Elton, my coach, was also like, they're not going to accept it. I'll just throw them $1,000 just to accept it as well. So it was a $3,000 bounty. And for low level regional pros, it's like that's good money for them because they're getting shit, right? So I was like, yeah, I'll give them 2 grand if they beat me. Elton was like, I'll just give them $1,000 to make it to show up, whatever. And
Right,
then
because they're not going to take the 2 grand from you. If they thought they could beat you, they'd already take the
that
fight.
was the thing. That was the thing. So like, I didn't think about it. I was just like, an extra 2 grand. Here we go.
Yeah.
It's like a bet match, whatever. And so yeah, Elton was like, dude, they already don't think they're gonna win. So just give them an extra $1,000. So that came from him, and we got a pro boxer actually to accept it. That guy's fighting today actually. So I hope he wins.
Nice.
Yeah, I hope he wins.
Sick.
He was. I didn't know this after, but I know he was 5-0 in boxing with 4 KOs. I didn't know until after the fight that he had an extensive amateur record of like 40 fights. Yeah, I had
In boxing?
In boxing, yeah, I had no idea that he was that experienced, right? But he accepted the fight like very quickly, and so someone sent it to him on Instagram because I think he's from Houston actually. So someone sent it to him, and then he accepted it. I outstruck him. That was like the fight where like I don't know if you guys saw, like pointed at the ground, hit him 3 times. Just kind of stunted on him.
That wasn't the middle finger one?
That was my amateur debut.
Okay.
The middle
was the
finger one
first
was my
one.
amateur debut and I didn't. People gave me shit for that as well, but the thing was, I went to go shake his hand and he tried to sneak an overhand.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
So that's why
Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck you, bro." Like, yeah. But
No, but you pointed at the ground of like you're a pro boxer with knockouts. You've got these 40 amateur fights, and I'm outboxing you in the ring.
it wasn't even that. It was just I didn't plan on doing it, but like when I was fighting, I just kind of like got in like kind of the flow state a little
Flowing,
bit,
yeah.
exactly, just flowing a little bit, and he whiffed a punch, and I pointed at the ground like, oh, you threw it over there, pop, 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 type of thing, It was kind of like something like that. And then I submitted him in the second round, but I wanted to focus on striking because I didn't get to strike really in my amateur debut, my pro debut. This time there was a striker where I wasn't really worried about grappling, right? I didn't think he was going to try to shoot on me. He was going to try to box me. So I was like, okay, I've been working with Elton for this amount of time. Like I have to try to work on my boxing. So I was like, I'm really trying to strike. Then there was my third fight was a pro Muay Thai fighter. Again, someone that I knew that I would be able to submit. Well, for the most part, most of the guys, like it's gonna be like 99% of the guys that I fight, I'm gonna be confident that I can submit them, unless they're another world-class grappler where it's like, okay, we might have to duke this out on the feet, right? But so this guy, I was like, okay, let me practice my striking again. Practice my Muay Thai against a southpaw tall guy, and we broke him down still, and then I outstruck him first round. Then took him down in the second, took his back and strangled him. And then my fourth fight now was a jiu-jitsu guy this guy was actually good in my eyes, a good fighter. He was, at the time, I want to say he was 5-1. And his only loss was to Sean Mora. Sean Moore is the current CFFC bantam champion. This was
the guy that you're trying to get the matchup with.
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
You're
So
currently talking shit to.
Yeah, exactly. I tried to blur his name out, and then everyone obviously just Googled, because
The CF.
yeah. So I was like, all right,
champ at bantamweight, and
yeah.
they kind of figured out who it was.
Yeah, but so Gabriel Vanderlei is his name. His only loss was to Sean Mora. Never been finished in his amateur or pro career. I think cumulative, I want to say he was maybe 12-2. I think he has one loss in amateur decision loss and one loss in pro decision loss, but never been finished. He accepted the fight, but what's crazy was that he was also on the verge of going to the UFC because he had some finishes. He's a scrapper. He was on like a short notice fight list, but he accepted the fight with me, and I was able to finish him in the second round. That's my heel hook finish, and he had to fight a couple more times now. So that's what sucks is like you might be on the verge of the UFC, but then you lose, and it's
Pull
like
you back.
yeah, it's kind of shit. So that's why I get people get scared a little bit. They're trying to protect their record just so they can make it to that next level. But yeah. So two of the guys that I fought now. So Marcelo, he's on a I think he's 4-1 now. He's on a 4-1 or 3-1, but he's on a 3 KO win streak as well now in MMA. So he had like four KOs in his pro boxing career. In MMA, he's now in like a 3-fight win streak with all KOs. And then we have Emmanuel Calhoun, which is the tall Muay Thai fighter. He's also fighting tonight. I think he's also on a 3-fight win streak as well. So it's cool to see. I hope all these guys win because it makes me look better.
There you go.
Yeah. So we'll see.
Could you explain for a second like where we're at and what we're doing, what's going on later
Yeah,
today?
guys. So today is Friday. We are in an Airbnb in Houston, just in like the loft upstairs. And we have our boy Jackson Glass fighting tonight, as well as Dallas Dodd. So yeah, it's gonna be a sick performance. They're fighting on Fury. Jackson's opponent, I forget his name actually, but we watched him a few times and did the whole breakdown, game plan for training camp for him, and then we have Dallas Dodd. So Dallas Dodd is an interesting one because he's one of our newer guys that trained with us. He comes from 10th Planet as well.
How long has he been with y'all? No.
He's only been with us for a few months now. So this is his first fight with us. He's maybe now the second guy to really fight under us now, from out of me and Jackson, because for the longest time. So I've been training with Elton for 3 years.
Yeah.
Only in the past few months did we actually let other guys in our circle, because once Cody left, it was honestly just me and Jackson every day for a year. It was like that for years, and I didn't even realize, to be honest, because like we now
you're still working with other people though, right? Like
no.
Yeah.
It was us two. It was us two for like a year and a half, 2 years. And then now there's a lot of guys that we have in our group. And I forgot, like it would be me, Jackson, Elton doing privates up at Ambush. And then we'd go to B team at the time and then train jiu-jitsu. Yeah. Then at night we would do the group classes and sparring with everyone else. But in terms of like our striking sessions, our pure striking sessions, it was just us three, because Cody had left.
Yeah.
And we were the only guys that really kind of we like the
really
theoretical portion
Okay.
of it is the thing. Like there were other guys that wanted to fight, but it was what we're doing now with CLA is a little bit more digestible, where people don't actually have to understand the theory behind it. But at the time, it was very theoretical. It was like we were learning these concepts that Elton's trying to teach us, and where some sessions it would be like just an analysis day where we're sitting down analyzing the fights, trying to understand what Elton's teaching us. Oh, what do you see here? Oh, he's overcommitting on his jab. Why is he overcommitting on his jab? Oh, his lead heel is on the ground.
But
what
did
does
you
that
notice
do?
this? And
Exactly,
then going into that
exactly.
and going back and forth, right?
Exactly. So it's like we'll see that in like high level fights, and then when we're looking at these high level fights, a lot of the time we see massive defensive holes. We see a lot of guys that are dogs that are like, why is this guy winning? Dude, he has great attributes. This guy's fast. He's willing to bite down on the mouthpiece, but he was actually out of position. Oh, next fight, that guy gets knocked out. Oh, why? Because he did the same thing, but got caught because he was out of position. We see like, oh, this guy he's hitting the guy with a lot of jabs, but he has a low return line. Oh, what happens? 2 fights down the line, you see, he might get clipped with a hook, a check hook or something like that. A big thing was Volkanovski and Izzy. We watched both of them a lot actually, and we were we took a lot of we were very impressed with the amount of feints, the positional awareness that they had. But a defensive hold that we always saw was, we call it overpulling. Overpulling is where your chin goes back over your lead or your rear leg. When you so like if a strike comes, boom, you overpull. it's a common thing, but it's something that Volk does a lot and Izzy does a lot. And what that does, it compromises your balance, it compromises your movement. And it was a defensive hold that we always saw, but we were like, dude, they're getting away with it. And then no overhand right hits fucking Izzy.
If they get caught, they get rocked.
Exactly,
Right?
exactly. And you start to see Volk also get hit. I mean, Volk is so freaking good, but there's still defensive holes that we see. Now, granted, like I think their offensive tactics are superior, so they get away with it. But something that Elton has us do is like everything is based on defense first for us. We always have to be in proper position. That's positional relative to your opponent. It's position relative to the cage, in where you are in space. But also we call it first person position as well. Like your head, hips, and feet all have to be in one straight line. Yeah. If not, you're out of position. You can't move. If we see someone out of position like that, first person position, like they're over pulling or over committing, bro, it is counter city for them. Like if they're over committing on their lead leg, it's like, all right, I'm going to feint, draw it out. They can't move backwards anymore. We crack them. If they're over pulling, now all we have to do is shift. They're not going to have any backwards movement. An overhand right, overhand left's going to come and hit them, So it's like, that's where I really started to like MMA, because it became another puzzle to solve. And I found another coach that can teach me, how everything fits together,
You were talking about, you got into this talking about how for a long time after Cody left, it was you, Jackson, and Elton, right? And there were a lot of guys that that wanted to fight and liked it too, but you were saying a lot of it was theoretical. To that point, are you saying that a lot of the guys didn't really enjoy the theoretical aspect as much, and so you kind of like maybe didn't allow them or something in the group?
So what I felt was there's a lot of guys that had great skills, but Elton wasn't the right coach for them. Like even Cody,
yeah.
Like Cody obviously went to Vegas, but Cody is like in my opinion, like he's a visual learner, and then he has to do it, like visual and do it. But he's not the type of person to look at a whiteboard and then have Elton explain where the fight's going to go and why it's going to go that way,
Got it. Go. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Whereas like for me and Jackson, it's like we might not do something. Like if I don't know why I have to do it, then why would I do it type of thing, It's like, why do I put my foot here? I'll just step forward with my foot so I can hit him. Oh, you have to put your foot here so you're off the center line and you're safe. And that makes sense. So now every time I'll put my foot there type of thing. But it's like if I don't know why I'm doing something, then it gets thrown out of my brain. So I personally love the theoretical portion of it, because it's like then it makes sense to me. Now everything that I'm doing makes sense, versus like some guys, they see it done and now they're just able to do it, and like they'll just do it like that over and over again. But I won't. I'll like try to be in my mind more efficient. It's like, well, I don't have to step out. I'll step forward because I want to go closer to them. But you don't care about getting closer. You care about getting angle. Why do I care about getting angle? Because it allow you to exit better. Allow you to line up your rear side better. And that's where I start to like it. And that's when I talk about like the theoretical portions, because some people are very good still, but they don't care as much about the theoretical. Some guys are just dogs. Like I don't necessarily think like someone like Marab would enjoy Elton's classes, but other guys that enjoy the theoretical, they'll enjoy it a little bit more. But yeah, it was really just us two, and it's like we had other guys that tried to join. First, the consistency is a big thing. You see that a lot. It's like some guys are on for fucking a month, 2 months even, and then they fall off. There's some guys that they only train 3 days a week, and then they train 1 day a week, and then 5 days the next week. It's like me, Jackson, and Elton are very consistent. So it's like we're training all the time. So there was a bit of that, but then also some guys don't really believe in what we're doing. And you have to approach this like with an open mind, or at least our team with an open mind, because it's very different than anything I've ever seen. It's like, I don't know if you guys ever seen anything like
no, even like on a way more simple level. I've been going in and out of ambush for years as well, and just like his target system, unique. right? And then like just me learning that coming from the outside was like it took me a second to adjust to his target system, which I liked a lot more because it wasn't like calling numbers for what you're throwing and then your opponent's going to hear it. It's calling targets. Who cares what weapon you use to hit that target? You
Yeah.
know? And just that one small thing I thought was unique to him and really interesting. But I've been striking for 15 years and it was like, oh, this is brand new to me. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly. Like we had a target system. No, actually, like Elton kind of doesn't use it anymore. He kind of threw it away, but I think he's gonna bring it back in like a revised uh manner because Elton threw it away because the targets technically change um according to the person's stance. So it's like say open versus closed, right? Those targets will
Yeah.
change. So it didn't really fit into his system quite well.
Right. Like the only thing I could think of that's consistent is like middle body,
Center
middle
line,
head, right?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Those things will never change. That being said, it's so ingrained in me that like if if I see Jackson sparring and I'm sitting out, like I'll immediately call a number and he'll hit it right away, and vice versa. Like
That's
he might be
sick.
sitting out and I'll be sparring someone that like maybe he's new or whatever. I'm sparring him. Jackson immediately calls out something. I hit it right away because it's like that type of stuff is so ingrained in our brain. It's like we haven't thrown that away at all. Like
That's
it's so
awesome.
easy to understand. But for new guys and for Elton's new kind of improved system, we don't really use the target system right now. Yeah, yeah.
Something I'm interested in. I help MMA fighters try to look at opponents and figure out all right what is pattern recognition and things like that. Do you feel that there's a difference between your ability to study someone for like striking or MMA versus grappling? Because from my perspective, I think it's a lot easier to find those pattern recognitions in striking compared to like helping someone get ready for a grappling match, studying tape on the other guy.
Can you repeat the question again?
Like, do you think it's easier to find the like an opponent's patterns in striking versus grappling?
Do I?
Like, I find it's really easy when I watch strikers. I can pick up on all the things you're talking about that goes into the data that Elton was, those charts that he was creating. It's like, okay, you can see on the chart this guy's throwing a lot of this. Visually, it's very easy to see a pattern in striking. Whereas in grappling, I feel like it's a lot harder to do tape study. I think
Yeah.
it's getting better, but
Um. I haven't put too much thought into that. That's a really interesting question. I haven't put too much thought into it. My initial gut instinct is to say yes, it is a little bit easier to recognize patterns in striking. Now the reason I believe this is because I see striking as like a loop, right? Just like the clear system, just go back from what it was before, it's like a loop where it's like there's engagement and then it stops, engagements, it stops, engagements and stops. And it's like that constant engagement, you get a higher frequency and like feedback loops, right? So you can see a pattern more clearly if it's happening over however many engagements over the round over a fight, right? In grappling, you don't really see that same feedback loop in terms of like patterns. But I I I think I do analyze a little bit differently grappling versus striking. In striking, I do look for patterns like, oh, what type of striker is this guy? What we call them forks, but like, what type of forks, what fork does this guy use or forks does he use? And then I also look for, we call them anti patterns, where it's like, is he overcommitting on his lead foot? Does he have a low return line? Does he have a slow recovery on his kicks? Does he have poor distance? Does he have poor, cage awareness? So I look for we look for anti patterns, or at least when I do it. For grappling, I usually look for mainly things that I think they can capitalize on. So like for I'm not really competing grappling, but it's like I help all the guys, with tape study or like, analyzing opponents or game planning for opponents. Game plan. And I think I always, for jiu-jitsu, I look for situations where my opponents or their opponents mess up. And so I guess there's another way of saying anti-patterns. Like I don't necessarily look at like patterns that they're doing. It's really just like, or where is he messing up? Oh, he has poor head position when, he has a wizard. Are you going to send him backwards type of thing? It's like, oh, his single leg, or his head position on his single leg is very poor. Guillotine him there. Don't even sprawl, just guillotine him right there. Things like that. he allows his cross frame to come across the center line. Okay, you're gonna use a round drag for that. Or like the situations like that, I look for more anti patterns versus like what does he do. Um, and that's just kind of how I've approached it. Like I look a little bit at what they're good at just to get a good feel about like, okay, maybe he's a leg locker, maybe he's a wrestler, maybe he's like a scrambler or whatever the guy prefers to do. But in terms of like actually breaking down opponents, it's always where can we capitalize and implement our game for.
Do you have any like history of any other like athletic background before you came into grappling? Because you started grappling in college.
Yeah, I started grappling in college
With Garry
very
Tonon.
late, man. It kind of sucks because I see guys like Jackson that started grappling at 4 years old,
Yeah.
started Muay Thai,
We all
whatever.
wish we could start
Dude,
early, right?
I wish, man. I started so late. There was already guys like, competing professionally when I started like 18, 19 years old. It sucks, but whatever. We're not going to cry about it now. But I did have an athletic background. I played a bunch of sports. Mainly it was football and lacrosse growing up. I actually wrestled a little bit in 6th through 8th grade, or maybe third. I forget when I started wrestling, but it was all recreational wrestling, and I was very average, maybe like slightly better than average, just because I was athletic in wrestling, but I was never like great wrestler. Football player was like average football player, maybe better at lacrosse actually, but it was always like just intensity. Like I would hit people hard in lacrosse. I would try hard in football. I would like be aggressive in wrestling, but I didn't actually understand what I was doing. And only now growing up and honestly learning under John initially did I understand the importance of a good coach. Like where I feel in all the sports that I've done, if I had a good coach, I would have excelled like 100% because it's like I had no idea what I was doing. I was just operating on instinct. And that was in jiu-jitsu. It really taught me that it's like there's a reason why you do things this way, and this is the most logical way to go about it. And even if someone's bigger, faster, stronger than you, you can still outperform them or beat them because you have proper technique and you're doing this properly. So it's like in wrestling, I was average because it was rec wrestling, and it was like someone's dad that was, that had wrestled back in the day and is teaching us wrestling. It's not someone that like, I didn't even realize some of the guys were wrestling year round. I was like, this guy's so freaking good.
Yeah.
But I was like, I had
is he
football.
killing me?
Yeah, I had football or lacrosse to worry about if I'm not wrestling. But these guys that were wrestling year round, they only did wrestling, and they're wrestling at the club, at their clubs and shit like that. And they're getting quality coaching, and it's just something that I wasn't aware of at the time. And my parents, none of them were really like great athletes, so they didn't understand the importance of getting a coach. Like now when I have kids, if that kid wants to say he doesn't want to fight or doesn't want to do jiu-jitsu, he wants to do basketball or something. Okay, I'm going to find the best shooting and dribbling coach and give you the skills, because now you're going to understand the game. That's really where it comes down to. Like, do you understand what you're doing and why you're doing something? At least for me, like that's, again, the theoretical.
Yeah.
That's where I believe like these guys can go from being good to like great,
Is there anything in the past that drove you towards football? Feel free, bro. It's all good. Yeah.
Yeah, you're good,
Football
man.
for
That
me,
drove you towards football and lacrosse.
lacrosse. Okay, so football. My stepdad always like talked about football, so I thought that was like the cool sport. And like just looking at the guys that played football, like I was like, those guys are cool. Like,
Hell yeah.
I want to be like
You
them.
got armor on and shit.
Dude, yeah, I was like, fuck, I want to do that. I don't want to play soccer. I want to play football. Look, these
Yeah.
guys are tough, man. And no one looks at a soccer player and says, damn, that guy's tough.
Yeah.
People look at football players like, dude, these guys are tough. So I wanted to play football, so I played that. And then lacrosse, I just had friends that played lacrosse and said it was fun. So I was like, oh, fuck, I'll try to play lacrosse. And then I actually naturally ended up being a little bit better at lacrosse than football, to be honest. Yeah. So lacrosse was kind of like the sport that I was better at, but I loved football more. Yeah.
I'm not surprised to hear that. So, like coaching for a while, I always like to ask that kind of question
Yeah.
of like, hey, what athletic background did you have? I feel like you asked because you're like, you clearly were an athlete before you started fighting, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I've kind of broken down to like what I think are some of the best crossover sports
Yeah.
for jiu-jitsu athletes.
Okay, let's hear
and
it.
it's like hockey, lacrosse, football's pretty good, rugby is really good, and water polo. And I've found that with those as like a prerequisite sport,
Water
it just like
polo.
super accelerates your jiu-jitsu
I was a
learning.
swimmer actually too. I forgot to say that.
Yeah.
I was a swimmer as well.
Bro.
Yeah, yeah.
You got
Yeah,
so many
we've
swimmers
been
on.
talking a lot about swimming. He can't swim. He's
I
trying
can't
to learn.
swim, bro.
What do you mean? You like unable to, or you're just bad at it?
I'm like very bad.
Like
at
you'll drown if you're in the ocean or something?
100%.
Really?
100%.
Jeez.
Like
So
we're deep sea fishing. You fall overboard. No one helps
Dead.
you. You're dead.
Like instantly, as soon as there's just water on site.
That's crazy.
So my skill set for swimming, I can get from one side of the pool to the other, cool, chilling, right? I can do that. I can traverse
Okay.
water, but by the time I get to the other side of the pool, man, give me about like 10 minutes.
You're gassed.
I gotta, yeah, because
Wow.
that's wild, man. And floating, we were talking about this last night. You weren't there at the restaurant, but I was like, I got the egg beaters. Right, and I got like the scissor kicks.
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
I've been watching mad YouTube videos, but the shit don't work, man. I don't know.
Wow, that's wild.
I don't know.
Yeah, I grew up swimming
That's
as well.
that's a survival skill, man. It's a
Yeah,
life skill right
exactly.
there. That's
I
crazy.
understand this.
That's
Yeah.
wild.
We just interviewed a former UT swimmer, so he said he'd give us some help. So we'll try to throw him in
Oh, I'm
Barton
sure,
Springs
yeah.
and see if we
It's
can get him
not
a
that
little
hard.
better.
Like everyone learns how to swim, so it's like take
Bro,
a swimming
nothing's
lesson.
that hard after you know how to do it.
Have you exactly? Have you taken swimming lessons ever or no?
I took swimming lessons twice as an adult.
Ooh, and still can't swim.
Ooh. Ooh. Yeah, bro, it's not good, man.
It's okay. Don't go in the water. You're fine.
Bro, I
We're
love
land
the
people.
water though. I love it.
Oh no.
yeah,
Brother,
I
what?
love the
Oh,
water, bro.
Shit, that's a problem, man.
Yeah.
I do love the water as well. I'm like, I mean, I'm Filipino and Jamaican. I realize it's in
man.
my genetics.
I was
you know?
born in the Philippines. Yeah.
Oh, but and you
It's-
can't
it's
swim.
rough, bro.
Oh my God, that's
I know.
crazy.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Shame on my people.
Speaking kind of on coaching, are you just focused on yourself as an athlete right now? Do you do much coaching? I know, like with the team, you're
So
kind
I'm
of part
not.
of the coaching.
I mean, the guys, like the students there, definitely see me as a coach. You know, like if they have any questions, I'll always answer questions, and I spend a lot of time at like answering questions. Nicky Rod pretty much always wants me to like fly out. I mean, me and Nicky Rod have a good relationship where it's like if he has to compete in Vegas, he's like, yo, can you come to Vegas and corner me? Whatever. If I'm fighting in Philly, I'm like, yo, can you come corner me? He's like, yeah, sure. So it's like, I like him as in my corner for MMA. He likes me in his corner for jiu-jitsu. But my main focus is definitely fighting now. Like pretty much just fighting, but at the end of the day, I still like the problem solving aspect of it. So it's like, if someone sends me their match or whatever, I'll break it down a little bit for them. And like, I'll take a look at a position that we saw someone do and then recreate it or, problem solve that. Like I like that part of jiu-jitsu. But in terms of
Breakdowns.
like,
Breakdowns.
I like
breaking
breakdowns,
down, yeah.
but the actual taking a student and building them up, that's not my forte right now. Or
Do you see yourself getting back to that after you retire?
For sure.
Yeah.
It's
I think you'd have an awesome team of MMA or jiu-jitsu, whatever you chose to do.
Thank
you know?
you. Yeah, I think so. I think it's actually like a skill that I believe I do well in. I do believe I have a good skill to explain to people, or break down different fights or break down moves, why they have to do something. Like again, the theoretical portion. Like I think since I enjoy the theoretical part, I think I can pass that on. Versus like sometimes it's a bit harder for the transfer of knowledge to happen if you don't like the theoretical portion. It's like imagine CLA. There's an athlete that just does CLA, and he wants to transfer that to the next person. Unless that person wants to do hours and hours of CLA,
yeah.
it's going to be very difficult to explain to them, the theory behind things like head height wins a scramble, or, why do you want to pinch your elbow in this heel? Like, oh, because that keeps the foot at 90 degrees. Well, why do you want the foot at 90 degrees? Oh, that gives you a longer lever for the lower half of the leg. It's like things like that I enjoy. I think that's what could allow me to become a good coach. And I think I could be a great coach after my competitive career is over.
Yeah, and so you mentioned B Team New Jersey. You guys just rebranded B Team from B Team to Simple Man Martial Arts.
Yeah.
Is B Team New Jersey staying B Team New Jersey?
It'll stay B Team New Jersey because it's like an offshoot. It's not the HQ. It is more of a hobbyist gym. So it's like a lot of the guys there, they had no idea that there was a B Team in Texas. You know, the kids program had no idea who Craig Jones was or whatever. Because it's very much like just a family gym. Now there's guys there that obviously are like that want to compete, so they know us, they know everything, whatever. But it's like a vast majority of the people just looked up jiu-jitsu nearby. What?
That's exactly what happened to him at Fight Factory.
Yeah, look up.
I almost didn't go to Fight Factory because I thought the name was whack.
Really? We're gonna have some
Straight up.
problems with Simple Man.
But it was the closest to my gym. It was recommended by some homies. I walk in. I didn't know anything about jiu-jitsu. I didn't know what attack it was. You know, I walk in, greeted well, vibes is high. There ever since. So
Yeah, it's
And I think that's most people's
dude,
experience.
that's everyone, man. It's like they look up martial arts or jiu-jitsu near them. They want to go to the closest one, or the nicest facility, the place that they get the most value, and then that's pretty much it. So it's like it would be too much for me to rebrand. It's like I rebranded from All In BJJ to B Team because it used to be named All In BJJ. Changed it to B Team NJ. We have a student that made us a massive custom plaque that we have hanging up there. We have a massive custom front desk that says B Team New Jersey.
So you're not
We have
getting rid of
wall
that.
mats that say B Team New Jersey. We have years of search engine optimization on the website.
That's what I was thinking too.
I'm not changing the name.
yeah.
It's like it's just too much, man. Come on.
Could you go into a little bit of starting that business and when that happened, how that came
Yeah.
about?
So I get into this thing where if I get injured, I'm very obsessive, right? So it's like if I am training or I'm in fight camp, that's all I'm doing, right? Like I'm focused on that. Now, if I get injured and I can't train, like I have to do something. You know, it's like I still go to training every day, but it's like I have to be trying to progress somewhere, or else it feels like I get like almost anxiety, like I'm not doing enough type of thing, right? So I have like a crippling.
I'm with you, bro.
Yeah, I feel like he's very similar to that.
I'm
Yeah.
right there with you, bro.
Yeah, I have a crippling anxiety. Like if I feel like I'm not moving forward, then I'm a lazy shit that's moving backwards in life. I'll be homeless type of thing, you know? So what had happened was I was the manager of Gary's gym, and I had worked there for a few years, and I had full autonomy of the gym. You know, it's like Gary was just training, and then I would basically I got to implement the systems. I got to implement the billing software. I got to implement, you know, literally everything in terms of the gym. It's like at some point I would ask Gary about something and then I would do it. And then at some point it just was like, I knew how to do it, or I could solve it myself. Right. So that's kind of where I was at in that area. Then I hurt my knee. I tore my meniscus, and I was out for a bit. And then I started thinking like, I don't need to, or why am I still working for Gary when I can do this for myself now? Like I can do this myself, right? So then I started looking up like, all right, how can I open up this gym? Whatever. What did I need for it? And I ended up I put Gary's gym and I put our affiliate gyms, like the guys that were on our team, on a map, right? On a Google map. And I just put them all up. And I looked in the spaces that I could
Looking
go.
for the holes.
Yeah, to where I wouldn't, you know, kind of step on their turf type of thing. I found a spot and I started looking for places in there. I was like, dude, I can't afford this rent. So then I started looking for martial arts gyms to sublease. So I looked for Taekwondo, karate, and Muay Thai. I found a Muay Thai gym that would allow me to sublease from them for like dirt cheap. And I started the program in their gym. Started the gym. I sold, I promoted it, whatever. I actually uplifted the place a little bit too, because Gary's gym, we grew Gary's gym from one spot and we were outgrowing it to go to this other spot. And he left a bunch of vinyl plank flooring in his old location. So I asked Gary if I could take it because he was just going to leave it there. And so at the time I had a Nissan Sentra. I drove like
Let's
at
go.
midnight or whatever. I started ripping up this vinyl plank flooring. I stuffed it all in my car. I'm like, at the time I'm 22 or 23, and I stuff it all in my car, and I drive it over to my new gym now because they had carpet and it was a Muay Thai gym, so the carpet was absorbing sweat. And it was fucking nasty. It smelled so bad. So I had a guy that was kind of like a contractor that trained at Gary's gym. I had a good relationship with him. I was like, hey, can we trade privates? And you do my flooring. So then he was like, yeah, sure. So ripped up that carpet, put down the flooring. The place looked like honestly beautiful. Just it's crazy that flooring can just make a place look amazing. So completely changed the flooring and had the grand opening, whatever. I needed cash flow initially because
When was that grand opening?
that was like March 1st. And I'll tell you the year. It was like March 1st, uh, 2020.
Oh, rough time, brother.
So I open up, right? And I was like, all right, there's a bunch of things that I need. I there's things that like I bought up front, like I bought like insurance up front. I had to build a website, whatever. So I built all these things and I wanted cash flow as a cushion. Like I needed like an emergency fund because I had no bankroll really. And like this is another thing. Um I've always been into like crypto or whatever. And I needed just like maybe 2 grand or something like that for a year's worth of insurance. And I was too like proud to ask my family. And the thing is like I'm an only child from my mom's side, and I'm only one of 2 grandkids from my grandparents. So it's like they honestly spoil me too much. Like they always want to help, and it's like I'm just too
Don't
proud
want to do it.
to
Yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
fuck
You
this. Like
know they'd be down, but you don't want to do it.
exactly. I'm like, dude, fuck that. Like I want to build it myself. I want it to be mine.
Yeah.
I don't want people to help me. So when I fucking sold Ethereum at the time, and Ethereum was like $100 or something like that, 100 bucks, $120, something like that. Sold 2 grand worth of it. So it's just a funny story that I had to do that. I could have just borrowed the money, whatever, no big deal. But anyways, um, I wanted some cash flow. So then I sold like 6-month memberships up front, right, for a discounted rate. And I got like maybe 10 or 15 people to sign up within like, that grand opening. And I was only open for 2 weeks, and then COVID shut us down. Yes, I was like, oh fuck, like what do I do now? Right? I have a sublease. I took these people's money, whatever. So we were shut down for about a month. And for the month, I was, I thought the world was done. I thought everyone's died. This is the apocalypse. I'm like, it's crazy. And then after a month, I just said, maybe 2 weeks. I forget how long I actually like stayed inside for 2 weeks to 4 weeks, something like that. I eventually said, fuck it. Like I'm going to start fucking training again. So I actually started going back up to the city training. And then I just had underground training at my gym in the middle of the pandemic, which actually helped me out because Gary's gym stayed closed. He was doing online classes, but his landlord was super strict. Like they would not allow
Wouldn't let him open.
Bro, no. He tried to do secret training as well, but he eventually had to shut down. And then my landlord, or it was a Muay Thai gym, so he didn't really care. Um, so I just had secret training, and then those guys that his students that wanted to train, they came to my gym, and then they were still paying Gary, but Gary, just because he's a good guy or whatever, he was like, oh, I shouldn't be taking this money because you're the one teaching them. Like let them pay for you. When they come back, they'll pay for me. Like they'll go back to Brunswick or whatever. I was like, dude, that's fucking awesome. So like I had like a little crew in the middle of the pandemic that was training. We just ran underground sessions. And then
How big were those groups at that point?
each class maybe like 20 people, something
Sick.
like that. Yeah, I mean, it was very maybe 20, 30 people, but my student count was very low because I couldn't even market. It was mainly those guys that were training, and like little by little, like a student
couple
here would
people will
come
pop in,
of
yeah.
my people.
Actual,
yeah.
yeah.
Like I was getting money from all of them, but only people that would be my students would stay, right? So
Yeah.
it's like when they all left, I only had like 15 students or 20 students when they left. But the thing is, things started to open up again. And were they opened up? I forget if it was truly opened up, but the team decided that they wanted to. Oh yeah, so the world started to open up a little bit, and then now the team wanted to move to Puerto Rico, and so now again I was only teaching for like 1 or 2 weeks, and I was like, fuck, the guys want to move to Puerto Rico, like I have to figure out how to get to Puerto Rico. I can't. I was debating shutting down the gym. Gary convinced me not to, so then I figured out how to get a business partner. So I asked my business partner now, Andrew Vidal, who's like phenomenal business partner. Uh, he always wanted to own a gym, but didn't want to deal with like the back end work of it and stuff like that. He had a full time job, or he still does, and he just wanted to go and teach and leave. That's what he wanted to do. He didn't want to deal with landlords or insurance
Management,
or
administrative task, all that
exactly.
bullshit. Yeah.
So I brought him on, and I went off to Puerto Rico. And as long as I have a laptop, like you saw me doing a little bit of shit on my laptop, like in the morning, pretty much my schedule is like every morning I do a little bit of shit on my laptop, good for the day. And then, I do whatever whatever has to get done throughout the day. But yeah, and that's kind of how back then started. And it just starts. So back to your question, like, how did that start? It was like, anytime I get hurt, I go down a path or whatever. So my most recent injury, I had to get surgery on my elbow a year ago, almost a year ago, not a year, maybe this past March. And that's really what
Broke your arm, got married.
Well, I did get married, but really what had happened was we have a podcast as well, the Simple Man podcast. Shout out. But and we had that for about 3 years, but we weren't making any money from it, from the podcast at all.
Tell me about it.
And but the thing is, I had surgery, and again, I'm fucking in my own head, like I have to progress something.
Do something.
So I look into the podcast and I realize we're sitting on a massive marketing machine that we can utilize and sell, right? So now we make money from the podcast and doing very well. It's a very lucrative business now, but that's only because of my arm. Because before I was focused on fighting, and all the other guys were focused on fighting. I break my arm. I'm sitting down a little bit, and I'm looking at like what the fuck what we have here.
Yeah.
I talked to Ethan and Nicky Rod, and I was like, guys, we can make money from this thing. Like this is actually very easy right now. I can do so. Like I started talking to a bunch of different companies. Like I went into Flow headquarters, talked to Anaconda Fightwear, Massive Supplements, Merrick Health, a bunch of different big name companies to come on board, and now able to make a living off of the podcast. And that only happened because I hurt my arm.
Right.
Another blessing in disguise was like the guys wanted to buy B Team, but those guys to turn into Simple Man, right, or they wanted to buy B Team. They didn't have the managerial acumen to really implement the stuff or whatever. So like, Damien, we're gonna need some help or whatever, because I never wanted to really open up another gym. Because it was like, I have such a great relationship with me and my business partner in Jersey. It's like, it's fucking, it's a piece of cake, man. Like it is amazing. I don't want to deal with anything. But now my boys are saying like, we were going to open up this gym. It was really their thing. Like I had no ties to B Team here or in Texas. That was not my business at all. It was them. And, but they needed some help with setting shit up and everything like that. So I was like, all right, fuck, they're my boys. I'm going to do this thing. So that's kind of how I felt. But now it's like we turned to Simple Man. It's like our baby now. It's like we have a great group of guys. It's me, Nicky Rod, Ethan Krellinson, Nicky Ryan, Anthony Salvatore. And it's like we have such a great dynamic now. And I wouldn't have been on board if I didn't hurt my arm, to be honest. Like if I didn't have time to actually sit down and do a bunch of shit.
You're like, nah, my focus is elsewhere.
I got a fight coming up. I got the UFC coming up. Like I did not want to have to deal with that. But since I got hurt, I had a little bit extra time on my hand because I wasn't training fully. And that's what allowed me to actually sit down and be like, okay, let's break this down. How are we going to do this? How are we going to plan this? Yes, everything worked out.
Yeah, congrats on the wedding, by the way.
Thank you.
It
Thank you.
looked super fun, and I've never seen this before. But you guys did a little drunk pod at
Oh
the
my
wedding.
God, I was
Tell me about
hammered.
that a little bit.
Yeah.
We did a drunk podcast, and I barely remember the podcast. I barely remember the podcast.
Well, there's video.
Yeah, well, only 30 minutes of it got posted, so a lot of stuff had to get taken out.
Yeah.
yeah. A lot of stuff had to get taken out, and fuck, it was a great time. I'm not gonna lie, it was the best. That my wedding was the best day of my entire life.
That's awesome,
fucking
dude.
sick. Bro.
I've heard people say that before, and I'm not gonna lie. I would like roll my eyes, but okay, yeah, sure,
Yeah,
I get
fuck
it.
outta here. Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
bro.
Okay.
Dude, it was such a blast, bro. It was so amazing because it was like never in my life have there been that many people, friends and family that come together that I haven't seen in years come together all in one place, all just for me or just for us, right? It was such a beautiful thing to see. And it was just, the vibe was amazing. Everyone had a great time. Everyone was on the dance floor. Literally so many people that went to that wedding was like, this was the best wedding I've ever been to. And it was like just so much fun. Jackson was like, bro, I had a fucking blast. You got to do it again.
Sick.
It was like, well, maybe,
Yeah, right.
maybe not again.
Fuck, dude, I understand. I understand now why Indians do multiple day weddings, bro. Because the next day of my wedding, or after my wedding, I was like, I want to do it again. Like that was so
Yeah.
much fun. I can't believe that it's over because it goes by in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
I wish there was like a multiple day thing where I had time to enjoy
With
it.
all those people too, right?
Dude, it was, yeah, because it's like after people flying from out of town and then
Yeah.
they leave the next day, and it's like
Yeah.
you get to see them a little bit, but like you're not really you don't get to spend time with all of them because it's like we had over 250 people there. You know,
You
and
can't give
so many
everybody the
people.
time that they deserve.
Exactly.
Because there's so many and there's so little time.
Yeah,
right?
but like overall, it was a beautiful, perfect wedding. And now I'm part of the club that say, yeah, the wedding was the best day of my life. It's fucking nuts.
Sick,
like
man.
no better feeling. I've never felt a better feeling than that day. You know, it was just awesome. It was just awesome. Like winning doesn't matter. Hitting a cool move doesn't matter. It's that day was sick, man.
And then where'd you guys head to after?
Went to Tahiti. So we went to Bora Bora and we did 3 days in Bora Bora, 3 days in Taha'a. And that's just like paradise. You know, it's like crystal clear water, blue water. It looks like a postcard. I'll pull up like a picture real quick. It's just absolutely like beautiful. Let me see if I can. Yeah. So like these are like the bungalows.
Oh, dude, were you staying in those
Staying
on
right
that
in
water?
those.
Bro.
Damn.
That's like the movie scene at the end of the movie and they like go to the Bora Bora.
That's the no. That's like straight up like a wallpaper background, like desktop background.
Yeah.
Bro, I can't believe how beautiful it was.
Yeah.
Went like swimming with sharks, swimming with stingrays, saw some dolphins when we were jet skiing, like a pod of like 100
Yeah,
dolphins.
you posted that on your story. That was
Bro, it
crazy.
wild, man. And it's like the wildlife there is I don't think they're not really like hunting them or anything. Like they're not too afraid of people. Like there's like black tip sharks that come super close to you. They don't attack humans or anything. They just kind of dip, whatever. But they're swimming like a foot by you. These black tip sharks. And then we went swimming with stingrays, and there was one stingray that that is notorious to coming up to people and stuff like that. They call her Juliet, whatever, because you have to you take a boat out, whatever, and then you find this like little reef where a bunch of stingrays chill, and this one stingray called Juliet is known to come up to the tourists.
Oh,
and
it's
stuff like
one
that.
particular stingray. It's not
Yeah.
like a type of stingray.
No. It's
like,
just this
it's
one.
like, that's
The
Juliet.
one with these certain type of marks. That's
Juliet
Juliet.
fucks. Okay.
Exactly. Juliet loves us. So then like fucking Juliet will come up to one of the guys and like let her pick him up and stuff like that, and like we can pet her and shit, and then like let her go, and then she'll swim off, whatever, come back and still want like attention. It's just a wild stingray, but like since
like a
they
pet.
come.
Yeah.
Pretty much, but
Yeah.
since they come out so often, Juliet is the one that is known to come up to people. None of the other stingrays, like
crazy.
they're all cool with people being there, but like they don't
But
come
not
up
like
and
that.
touch you and stuff like that. Like Juliet literally swims up and chills with you and stuff. It's crazy.
That's dope, dude.
It was super cool to see. And then like the bungalows, there's like it's like a window that's basically kind of like this, where you open it
And
up
y'all are feeding them.
and
That
you
was-
feed the
yeah.
you feed the fish, from underneath them.
So you have like ocean access inside your
inside
hotel room.
inside the room, the bungalow,
Yeah.
and then also in the back there's like a dock where you can also just jump into the ocean and stuff like that too, and like climb back into the.
Bro,
it was
that's
sick.
See, this is why I gotta learn how to swim.
You don't have to swim there because it's standing water. Like you can stand there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in that part, it's like it's like chest high. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was sick, man. It was
Still
sick.
might drown. So, y'all just got back like a day ago, 2 days ago.
Got back. Yes, 2 days ago. Yeah, 2 days ago, and then drove straight down here.
Damn.
Yeah, watch the guys, do their thing. Can't wait to see these guys fucking perform, man. It's like it's been a while since Jackson's fought. It's been a while since I've actually never got to see Dallas truly fight like right up there. But it's like just because he comes from the different team, but like I see the work that these guys put in every day, so I'm super excited to see them perform.
Yeah, I think it's about time to start getting ready to head up to that.
Yeah,
Let's
we're
do
gonna.
it.
Do you have any places you want to shout out? Any places to find you? That kind of stuff?
Yeah, you can find me at BJJ Damien on Instagram. You can check out Simple Man Martial Arts, our gym. You can also check out our podcast, Simple Man Podcast. That's it.
Dope. Well, thanks so much for coming on, man.
Oh,
We really
sorry.
appreciate
Also,
it.
shout out B Team New Jersey. Andrew always gives me shit for not shouting out B Team New Jersey in New Jersey. It's in Greenbrook, New Jersey. So if you're in that area, swing by B Team New Jersey. If you're in Austin, Texas, swing by Simple Man Martial Arts. If you're on the internet, Simple Man Podcast or Simple Man Martial Arts on YouTube as well.
Dope. Well, thanks, man.
Sick. Thank you guys.
Thanks so much for watching. I'm Cold Jiu-Jitsu on Instagram, weeko.skilltree.matspace. We are on all podcast platforms, so Game Plan the Pod on YouTube and Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll be back soon with another episode.
Yeet. Game plan.
Thank you.
We've been working on it.
You guys might get a bunch of shit for having me on the podcast. I always get shit.
What?
Why?
Yeah,
so,
I mean, that's the thing about the podcast thing that we're hoping is like people can be fucking